Welcome back to the workshop. I'm Owen, this is Entropy Guitars, but today we're not making any guitars. We are instead reviewing these Gecko Blocs. This is a brand new product from a brand new company called Benchcritters. And for full disclosure, Benchcritters is owned by two friends of mine, Todd and Gio. They haven't sent me these for free. In fact, I've bought these with my own money, shipped them from America, paid the shipping costs, paid the additional taxes when they got here to Ireland. So what you're looking at is probably the most expensive set of these that anybody has bought so far. I'm going to be very unbiased in my review, and speaking of reviews, unlike other channels where they will talk for 10 minutes and then tell you if you should buy them or not, I'm going to tell you just now, buy these. Open up a new browser tab right this minute, pop in your card details and get a set of these because they are tremendous value for money and they're one of the smartest upgrades for any workshop out there. So let's do a little unboxing and dive in and see what we have. First of all, I really like the packaging. The color scheme, the white and the green is, let's be honest, a little festoony, and I quite like that. There's some nice little notes on the top here. We really appreciate you buying the block set. Welcome to the Benchcritters family. Let's have a look inside. All right, so the product itself is in a bag. That's interesting. I'll come back to that. There are some little notes. Oh, look. Okay, cool. There's a thank you card. And I guess everybody's going to get one of these because they're pre-printed. But it's a very, very nice touch. And there are some, there's some business cards. So you can give those out to people if they're interested in buying the same. And there is... there's a little bit of advice saying just wash this with soap and water before you use them. We'll dive into that in a second actually, because I think I understand why. And it says wash them every now and again just to make sure they stay grippy. Oh lads, there's a handwritten note as well. Just saying thanks for buying these blocks, happy building, and saying that it's the first set in Ireland. So that's great. Thank you guys. That's a nice touch. One way to guarantee you'll get repeat business from me is a handwritten note. This is the product. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is this bag is really clever, because if they had chosen to put the product into the packaging with styrofoam or packing peanuts, or even, paper, you'd put that in the bin and it would just go to landfill or recycling. But, after you've taken this product out, you can use this bag in your workshop to store the tools together. So in terms of sustainability, nice one, guys. That's pretty well thought out. And these are the Gecko Blocs. Oh, there's a lot of weight to them. And actually, do they kind of remind anybody of something we all used to draw in school? That little famous S that everybody did. I think that's kind of cute. So there's 6 of them. Now, if you don't know what these are for, sorry, we should probably dive into that first. These are to replace something called bench cookies, or an upgrade on bench cookies. Bench cookies are these little round discs. I'll put a picture on screen now of them that you would use to lift your workpiece off your workbench to make sure it doesn't get scratched or marred or anything like that. And you usually get 4 of them in a set. And they usually have one function, just literally to elevate and hold your work while you're standing on it. These seem to have a little bit more flexibility. I mean, the first things first anyway, there is 6 of them. Huh. That's really interesting. I think there's probably a very specific use case for these for woodworkers that maybe hasn't been shown yet. And I might go into that in a second, but looking at the 6 of them, it just came to my mind. There's a wall holder as well. That's very sturdy. Wow, that's really strong. And there's 3 screw holes, top, middle and bottom. There's no screws in the box, but that doesn't matter because everybody's walls are different. Some people are going to be plasterboard or drywall, as you call it in the US. Some people are going to be like me with plywood. Some people are going to be OSB sheeting. Some people will be concrete. So you'll bring your own fixings and mount these on the wall, but they are really solid. And even there doesn't seem to be the opportunity to have any sag in them, having these mounted vertically. So that's quite nice. So these are the Gecko Blocs themselves. I'll take some close-up photos of these so you can see them. The first thing that comes to mind is they're very strong. They're a silicone finish. And now I know why the guys are saying to wash them, because when you make something from silicone, it's usually injection molded, and to make sure things come out of the mold, they put a coating in there to separate easily. They do the same for car tires as well, which is why car tires are always a little bit crazy for those first 50 to 100 miles. So that needs to be washed, but that's a very easy job in the sink with a bit of soap and water. Playing with these already, I can see having the different varying height patterns being really beneficial when you're working on a piece of material in your environment. The first one really is that when you have them elevated this high, you can get a clamp underneath them. So that is really clever. And actually I wonder, yeah, it'll work in that position, it'll work in that position, it'll work in that position. Not quite horizontally, but it will work on all the others. So that's pretty great actually. So that solves a common problem when you're trying to clamp a workpiece from below. I like that. Wow, okay, there's a lot of grip out of these. I just managed to shake my whole bench. And bear in mind, I still haven't washed these to get that silicone residue off. But yeah, these are not moving. That is very impressive. I've deliberately left some ebony sawdust on my workbench as well, because I wanted to see if these got dirty and how clean you can get them. And they do seem to clean quite easily. There's quite a lot of dust on this one now as I'm talking to you. So that's pretty good. Now, actually, what came to mind earlier with the three of them, let's talk about that for a second, because as everybody knows, to make something stable, all you need are 3 points. So this is a tripod and you put it down and it's stable. And the reason I think 6 are a very clever idea is because if you're trying to cut a piece of wood, normally if you have it propped up on both sides and you're running a skill saw or a circular saw up the middle, as you get to the end, the wood can sag and it can bind and it can just slow the blade down and be quite destructive. But I'm just thinking now that if we take a few of these and we arrange them 3 at a side like this. Have I got a piece of OSB? Yeah, this might actually work. Okay, so now if I put this piece of OSB on the workbench, if I was to rip this up the middle, there's now 3 points holding that completely stable on each side. That's very clever. I quite like that. And the second thing that's immediately coming to mind is that because there's 6 of them, is that if you're working on a particularly large piece of wood and you're trying to put finish on it or sand it, it won't sag in the middle because you have that extra support. So that's great for anybody who's making large pieces of work like resin tables or anything like that. So these are really, really well thought out. And I love the fact that there's 6 instead of 4, because bench cookies normally come in a set of 4. So you're getting 50% more. And at the time of making this video, this whole setup is only, I think, $39.99 US. So it's extremely cheap for what it is. In fact, I probably think it's a little bit underpriced, but it's their first tool they're bringing to market. So that kind of, I guess the price point is just designed to get people in, but I genuinely think they should be charging more for these. Are there downsides? There's probably 2. The first downside really is that these aren't out in Europe yet. Now, I know the guys are working on that, and I hope they get it sorted soon, because the second downside I've discovered is that I don't just want 6. I want another set of these. And I want to be able to buy a few of these and give them to friends as well. But already, I think these are going to be a fantastic upgrade to my workshop. I think they'd be a fantastic upgrade to your workshop. So get yourself over to benchcritters.com, get yourself a set, because these are just 2 guys making their first tools and they have knocked it out of the park. These are awesome. Go get them.